Welcome to Setting the Stage. I'm Brooke Savage. Jagged Little Pill, the musical, is at the Dr. Phillips Center now through Sunday. It's based off Alanis Morissette's album from the 90s. Teralin Jones plays Frankie, and Dillon Klena plays Nick. They're both here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. So, Teralin, I'll start with you first.
Of course.
The first question I always ask is, how did you get into acting?
Oh my gosh. It's actually a funny story. My mom forced me to do my first audition when I was 7 because I threw a temper tantrum and she thought it was funny. She was like, oh, you want to be dramatic? Oh, okay, we could do that. And I loved it ever since. It was a punishment that turned into like the greatest blessing ever. And I couldn't stop. Now I'm here.
Wow, is your mom ever like, this is ironic, or I don't know if I should say
It was funny when it came time for me to like tell them that I wanted to be an actor full time, and they were like, really? You don't want to be a doctor? And I was like, nope, and you did it, so there you go. But now they love it. Now they're so supportive, and they're like always sending me flowers and at all the shows they can be at, so it's awesome.
What about you, Dillon?
I started performing when I was 3. I have 2 older siblings that also do theater, and so when they were young, and my mom put them into children's theater, and she was pregnant with me at the time, so I kind of was just like born into it. My mom did a production when she was pregnant with me at our local children's theater, and I guess I kicked during the performance in her belly, and so I guess that was the telltale sign that I just, was made for the stage. And so when I was 3 years old, I did my first performance, and it kind of, stuck ever since. And, it's been my lifeblood. Like, once you're bit by the theater bug or by the arts bug, like, you just kind of can't stop. And so, yeah, it's been, like, my thing.
I noticed that a lot of performers are very passionate about it. Very, very passionate about it. So, how did you land your roles in the show? Like, did you what inspired you to audition for Jagged Little Pill?
I actually saw Jagged on tour when it was in DC because I was going to school there at the time, and as I was sitting in the back row of the balcony, and I was like, I have to be in this show. I got very obsessed with it. My classmates were sick of me because it was all I would talk about. And then when I graduated, we ended up having like an agent showcase, and that's how I met my representation. And I walked across the graduation stage and then went home and filmed my audition for Jagged Little Pill. So I feel really blessed and fortunate to like have left college and immediately be able to do it I went to college for and what I want to do. It's awesome.
Is this like your dream role?
Yeah, right now. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I'm so excited to be Frankie. I feel like I manifested it. Like I was like, I have to be Frankie. And now I am.
I love that. What about you?
So my actually Jagged Little Pill has been in my family for a very long time. My brother originated the role of Nick on Broadway. So the show Jagged Little Pill has been with my family since 2018 when it was first starting at ART in Boston. And so, getting to see all the iterations of the show and watching Nick kind of unfold with my brother playing it the entire time and then taking that role and doing my own thing with it on tour has been a wonderful experience that doesn't usually happen a lot. And so I'm very grateful for that opportunity to, take something that has been done. I mean, we both feel this way. Take something that has been done and kind of, get the chance to do something different with it and make it our own while still like paying homage to what happened before. And I feel like that's like, I don't know, the through line for me throughout the entire experience. Yeah.
That is so cool. So when you told your brother that you were also playing Nick, what did he say? And have you guys discussed the role with each other?
Yeah. I mean, I auditioned for the show, and so we went through like a huge, like rigorous. I mean, it was a crazy audition process. It was fun and fulfilling. But thankfully we booked the roles.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it was definitely fun. I remember after I booked the role that we went to dinner, and we were talking about stuff, and. The woman that played MJ originally on tour, her name is Heidi Blickenstaff. She also played that role on Broadway with my brother. And so we both kind of like, there's this part in the show, I don't want to give it away, where there's like a physical action that takes place between the mom and son during the show. And so the first thing my brother said when I sat down was like, she's going to hit the hell out of you. And I was like, oh boy, I am ready. And honestly, yeah, because that's like a real moment in the show. And, you know, she did. Heidi, if you're watching, probably not. But if you're watching, you slapped me pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I mean, it's those little things. I mean, there are some things in the show that that we got to share before, like when you're in rehearsals for a show. There's they do like fittings for your costumes and stuff like that. And so at one of the fittings, they were like trying on different outfits that my brother wore on Broadway, just like trying things out, and they had me try on his shoes. And they're like Nick wears a specific shoe. It's like a Vea sneaker. And I tried them on and they fit like a glove, and it said D Klena on the inside. And so I kind of just made a joke like, what if I just wore these? And it kind of like happened, and they're like, well, do you want to? And I was like, yeah, I actually think that's pretty cool. So for like the first year of tour, I was wearing my brother's shoes that he wore on Broadway. So it was kind of like, I don't know, stuff like that. Like it can't happen any other way. Like I just think that stuff like that is so specific and so unique, and you know, made the connection between us as brothers also stronger too, because we both like share this experience of going through this deep role and understanding, you know, aspects of life that we as people were starting to figure out on our own. And so it's really great for us. I'm very thankful for that. And yeah.
That's really special. Like, it must also feel like you have like your brother's like good luck with you.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, my family is so supportive, and my mom and my parents are like so supportive of just the theater and arts, and he's one of my main inspirations, and you know, watching his career and seeing what he has done in his life has, you know, inspired me to create and be better, and you know, it's awesome. It's been a great time.
Okay, well, you know, I have to ask, have you met Alanis Morissette? And if so, tell us what a memory about it.
Yes, my first time meeting her was my first and only time, but it was in Sacramento. That's where she lives now. And it was so nice. She's so sweet. Her whole family came. Her parents gave us like affirmations. They're like, you did such a good job. Here's an affirmation. And it was just really nice. It felt very full circle. And I will say that was maybe the most fun show that we've done, for me at least. It was so fun to be like, I'm singing ironic for the woman that sings ironic. Like, that's insane.
Dude, I was nervous though. I get nervous when she's there because I sing perfect in the show, and that's like the song that she like got her record label from. So that's like always been so nerve-wracking to me, just singing that in front of her. But she said this one quote that the sensitive will inherit the earth. She said that to us, and that's been something that I take with me everywhere. I think it's like in my Instagram bio. Like it's just something that like because I've always been sensitive growing up, and like and told that wasn't really like a good thing. But like as I'm getting older and realizing that like, you know, it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel emotions, especially with this show and how, you know, dark it is. Like that's something that we want the audience to experience, is the feelings of things. And like so I feel like that one, you know, phrase kind of summed up like my whole experience in meeting her, and it kind of just like clicked with me the most. But she's an amazing person. Like the minute she walks in the door, you just know that's Alanis Morissette. She has this energy that's so like welcoming and calming. But yeah, she's been a part of the experience in a good way. It's been great.
Yeah. I definitely felt the emotions throughout the show, especially some performances. I felt that rage. I was like, they went for it.
Yeah.
But that leads me into my next question. What does it take for you to play your role? Because, you know, it's also like not just like getting into your character, but also it's a physically demanding role.
Yeah, I have to be on myself about warming up, because like I don't like in my when I'm not being responsible with myself, I'll just be like, I can do it, I can sing it, I got it, it'll happen. But it truly does vocally take its toll if I'm not being careful, and making sure that I'm steaming and resting properly. And yeah, emotionally, I think Frankie is, I just love this character. Like I have such a deep passion for the character of Frankie. So to me, like getting to play her is just, it's so exciting every night. I was telling this to you, but like I could do it all day. Like to me, it doesn't feel super burdensome. There are moments that are heavy and like moments that are hard, but I get so excited to play her that it doesn't wear on me very much, which is fortunate because the show is emotionally dense. So.
Oh yeah. No, it is very. I mean, it's just that we deal with so many issues and certain subjects in the show that it's like you have to bring your A game to it all the time, or you're not gonna. I mean, at least for me, I feel like I don't give like an honest performance if I'm not bringing my A game all the time. And so like with that, there does come a cost, you know. Like at the beginning of tour, when we were first starting, I was giving my 100% emotionally of who I am, like specific things I would go to in my brain to get certain emotions out, stuff like that. And after a certain amount of the shows, like it starts to, you know, tear and like wear and tear, and you're like, whoa, like I gotta like pump the brakes and figure out a new way to do this. And so like learning that, because I mean, honestly for us, this is like our first like big step into our careers as like performers, and just at this stage of like musical theater, like national tours and all that stuff. Like I've never done one before, so I'm learning how to adapt to certain things, and so that's like one of them. Like I've never done a show this long, and so kind of learning how to adapt in that way. And
Act 2 is a marathon. What does they say? It's a marathon, not a sprint. Act 2 is a marathon. Like having to take intermission and be like, okay, we could do it. We could do another act. Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah, your
my act 2 is insane.
Yeah, like I get to chill in act 2. You're moving.
I'm doing everything.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot. And yes, as I was saying yesterday, I was going, but as soon as I finished like my big chunk of act 2, my body was just like, woof. So you have to be kind of responsible with yourself in a way that I am not used to.
Yeah. And you always feel different too. Like even if you're like today I might be feeling amazing, but then tomorrow will come around and I'm like, oh gosh, like I did everything right yesterday, but today like my voice is feeling a little iffy. Like what am I gonna do? But the cool thing is we perform at like 8 o'clock at night, and our bodies kind of understand that schedule because we've been doing it for so long that it's like it's become muscle memory in a sense that our bodies are just like able to do it. And I get you when you're talking about not warming up, because like I'm just like, okay, fine, like we can do it.
We got it. I do this every night. Okay. And then halfway through the show, I'm like,
I mean, because it's just it takes a lot, and traveling from place to place. Also, you know, you never know what the weather conditions are going to do to your voice or like your performance or anything like that, and so it just takes a lot of, you know, discipline too, and really understanding what you're like how much you can bring to the table and bring to that performance. But yeah, it's fun.
That makes sense though. And so that leads me to my next question: how do you relate to your characters?
I relate to Frankie so much. So Frankie is a transracial adoptee, and while I am not that, both my parents are Black, but my experience was in like a very white, like suburban culture. I went to a private Christian school for all of my education except for when I was homeschooled. So like when I see what Frankie's going through, especially like the coming into your own, you're 16, that's when you're like deciding who you are. And then being in an environment that does not care who you are, like it's so hard. And like Frankie makes so many choices that on first glance, you're like, really? Are you sure you should have done that? But I just understand it because like when you're that age and there's like so much going on in the world and you feel like you're the only like representation in your neighborhood or like in your friend group amongst your peers, there's such a responsibility that you feel to like, okay, well, I'm the Black girl, so I have to be the voice of like my whole community. And it's just having all that pressure at such a young age will make you do some crazy things. It will. So that's why I'm so excited to play her every night, because I think her story is so like it happens often, but you don't see it a lot in media. So I'm just like really honored to be able to be that. Yeah.
No, that's cool. I think what Nick, I don't know. I feel like I've grown up with a lot of what's it called? Not discipline. I mean, yeah, I guess, but like I've always been the overachiever for myself. Like I've always like really wanted to do the best that I can do all the time. And realizing when I got Nick, I didn't realize that I like connected so much to Nick just because of like my past experience with the role and like seeing my brother do it and knowing like my brother's life and knowing how much it connected to him, and realizing in myself as I was doing it in the moment, like I do really connect to it. And I feel like now, like especially with his situation with Bella and that whole that whole side of the story, standing up, don't stand by, like that. I feel like we all relate to that, and like growing up, I know I can relate to that. And then I went back in my past and I was like, whoa, like there's so many instances where I didn't do, I didn't stop this, or I didn't say something about this, or I didn't say something about that. But now I learned that, you can, and like, I don't know, it's very interesting growing up and realizing, or being an adult and playing kids too.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
It's kind of crazy.
Because I reflect all the time, like, God, like that situation when I did that, like, I don't know why I did that, because now, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's just a part of growing up, just like realizing things and, but being a kid, a teenager, is interesting.
It's kind of crazy because I feel like teenage years were wasted on me personally. I was very like goody two shoes. I go to school, I go to church, and I do, my extracurriculars. But being able to play Frankie a little bit is like a little bit of like, what is it, like retribution. Like I'm like, okay, now I can be a crazy teenager that does all the things and like has all the experiences. So I don't know. It is kind of crazy.
It is. It's very, it's fun. It's very reflective for an adult to be in the eyes of a kid, or like to see world from in a different way through the lens of a kid. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so now to a fun question. I like to hear the responses, although I might not be surprised by your response.
Okay.
But if you could play any other character in the show, who would it be?
Ooh. I think about this a lot. You go. I have too many options. I have to narrow it down.
I mean, I don't know. I would love to play MJ, the mom.
Right?
Like, there's just so many things that I feel like you can do with that character, and just the struggle that all the subtext, or like all the circumstances behind that character. Like, there's just so many places you can go. And I mean, you're playing an older woman, so you've been through a lot.
Yeah. You've
been through a lot of things. And so, like, I don't know, I feel, and you have the mother aspect to it all. Like, it's just, there's so much you can do. It's a whole circle. Yeah. But what about you?
I don't know. This is so hard because you've never seen this. We're never backstage at the same time, but especially last night. But a lot of shows, I will like act backstage, like say the other line in my dressing room. I'm backstage, like. So I basically played all the characters in the show. I don't know. It's got to be between. Well, you said MJ, so I can't say that because that's a great one. So for me, it's got to be between Joe, because I would love to sing "You Oughta Know." I mean, are you kidding?
Come on.
Like, I want the standing ovation. Give it to me. I can do it. Okay.
Come on.
It's between Joe or Bella. I just think Predator is such a beautiful song, and the scene is also so beautiful. So I think to get to do that would be a lot of fun. Well, not fun, but a lot of compelling.
See, that's the hard thing. Like, we have so much fun doing what we're doing,
yeah.
But it's like so depressing.
What we're doing is really sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. But yeah.
Trust me, I can relate working in news, so.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
But that's why we try to do a lot of positive stories.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
So, what is your favorite part of the show?
I love the overture. The overture is so good. I wish I was on stage for the overture because I also, I dance it every, you can see that part, but I'm doing it every night. It's so good. It's like a big mashup of all the songs that we sing and off the album. So it's just it's just fun. And it's like a rock concert. I love it.
Oh yeah. I'm not on stage with the full company really that much during the show, only 2 times, but one of the time I act like they don't exist, I don't see them at all, and Nick World, he doesn't see them. So I would say honestly the end, because I feel like we go through all these dark things in the show, and then the way the show ends is so hopeful. And I feel like we're a community at that point. And there's a part where we're all standing in a circle and we're like raising this being together.
We're
And
all
I feel
looking at each other.
and it's just such like it's such a communal moment of just like hope and like we're gonna get through this. And like I mean, and I feel like in that time especially our true selves come out. Like we're not characters anymore during that part. Like we're just having fun and singing with each other and like being with each other. Like people crack jokes. Like everyone has their things with each other a bit. And we're just and that's like, I mean, honestly, I feel like the best part. I just like that. I mean, because that's what drew us to theater in the first place, is that like communal aspect of like all these artists being together on the stage, and everyone is so talented too. Just like it's a very good moment to kind of just sit in it and really, you know, be present and be like, wow, we're doing this right now as a company and doing this. And the audience during that part, like they love it. So it's cool to feel that energy as well. Yeah.
So something else I'm always curious about is, like, how long have you been on tour, and what is your day-to-day life like? Since you're always traveling, you know, what does your downtime look like?
Well, I mean, it depends on the place. I mean, it depends on the schedule of the place too. But usually, like, I don't know, I like to explore. I like to go and see cool things. I love coffee shops. So like going to a cool coffee shop in an area is really fun. Or like, you know, especially in Orlando, we have Walt Disney World and we have Universal and stuff like that. So that's definitely fun to like go to places that you never thought you would go to as well and like find the beauty in it. Like I never went to Greenville, South Carolina, but that was like my favorite spa on tour. And I've been a part of it since the beginning, since 2022. And so we're nearing the end, and that's like 474 performances at total since the beginning. And so that's wild to kind of realize that, like, I don't know, 2 birthdays. I've been a part of this for 2 birthdays, and that's crazy to think about. So like I started reflecting, and I've kind of grown up on this tour. Like I've become I went from a young adult to like a full-fledged adult, and now I'm like dealing with that on the road. It's very interesting. But yeah, I mean, just, you know, seeing the sites as much as you can. There's also rehearsals that happen during the week and stuff like that. So that sometimes happens, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I joined fairly recently. I joined in late August of last year. So I am new to the whole, very new to the whole touring thing. I'm trying to like get my routines together, and it's hard coming off of when we have time off, coming back and being like, okay, let me go to the gym, let me buy groceries, let me find time to like see the sights. I love seeing the sights. I love an excursion. It's my favorite thing. Especially like the cities that you don't hear about. We went to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I clowned it really hard. Like I was like, what's in Fayetteville? And then I went and I was like, everything. I love it here. This is amazing. And so I just love getting out and seeing what each town has to offer, and like making mental notes of like, I'll come back here. I'll come back here and turn it up, because this is really cool.
That leads me to my next question. So what are you guys planning to do while you're here in Orlando? Are you going to do some sightseeing? Do you guys do sightseeing together sometimes?
Well, the cast has like groups.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes, like, I don't know if we've all as a cast gone somewhere, but we'll find pockets of people in different places. Yeah. My group went to Disney yesterday and the day before. It wore us out. I'm beat, but it was quite fun. It was quite fun, and I think we're thinking about going to the City Walk at Universal Studios.
City Walk is cool.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It's pretty cool.
Pretty nice.
We have one of those in LA, but but City Walk here is I think it's way cooler.
City Walk here, well, yes.
There's like a lake and like
it is
big chocolate factory.
A
I was like, okay, come on, Wonka.
Yeah. So I'm excited, but there's also Disney Springs, which is like it's a laid back kind of City Walk.
Oh yeah.
It's very nice. Yeah, that's my plans. Do you have plans?
So cool. I'm going to Universal on Friday. I've never been. I'm really pumped because we have Universal Studios in Hollywood, but I mean, it's just like, it's Universal Studios in Hollywood. But I've heard so many things about Orlando's, and I heard it's better.
And it's
Sorry,
bigger.
LA, I'm like dogging on LA. But I think that, there's more to do, I feel like, in the Orlando one, so I'm really excited to do that. And then I'm going to Disney on next Monday, and I'm really excited for that. The thing about tour is that you find, like, as time goes on, you find your, like, niche group or, like, your people that, like, because you're with the same people for a long period of time, so, and you connect with different people. But I feel like, I don't know if you can, relate, but you find, like, your core group. Like, you do stuff with, like, your main peeps.
And, like, it doesn't mean that we're not all, like, we all are friends and, like, cordial. It's just, we were talking about this in the car, but sometimes it's just easier with a smaller group to get out and do more and, like, specialize it.
And you're on tour, so, like, you also want to have an aspect of, like, a life, too. And, like, I feel like that gives itself to that when you're working every night with the same group. Everyone is, like, cordial and nice, but you do definitely have, like, your own people that you go to for things, and that's what that's life, so it's cool, and it's fun to navigate that too and figure that whole thing out.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
So tonight you guys are going to have a Q&A after your show. You guys told me you'd both be doing that. What is your favorite part about those Q&As?
I just love seeing, like, the immediate after the show has ended, like, people's reactions, how it touched them, and getting to have conversation with people. And that's more than just, like, I love the show, thank you. Like, I love that. I also love being able to, like, really kind of get in the weeds about what we just did, like, what we just experienced together. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, there's people, like, the thing about our show is that we don't really market the show as, like, let me tell you everything that we go through in the show. Like, we don't really share a lot of what we experience throughout the show, just saying, this is Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill, all of her music's in the show. We really don't tell, like, what the show's about. And so I feel like this is the time where, like, people who didn't know what it's about, they really want to ask us questions. And so seeing that, like you said, like the audience, appraisal of what they just went through, it's really cool. And, what touches people in different places, or like, what topics really, speak to people. It's very fun. I enjoy just being there to listen. Like, if I don't speak on it, I love listening to feedback about the show. Yeah, because everyone has their own experience with it. And I feel like that's, like, what Alanis Music does in general, is, like, there's so many ways that people can connect to it, and so this kind of allows people to feel that and go through that, and we get to talk to them about it, which is cool, because that really doesn't happen that much either.
Yeah, and every show is a little bit different, just because it's live theater, and, like, stuff happens all the time. In Tempe, like, there was one line that got a really big laugh, and everybody broke, and we had to talk back afterwards, and it was nice to be like, yeah, that was funny, right? Like, we all shared that experience together. Let's talk about it and, like, kiki a little bit.
I love that. It's like a deep dive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, like, when else do you get to, like, really do that or ask those questions if you don't have that outlet, So it's great when we get to do that stuff.
I love it. Well, again, Jagged Little Pill, the musical, will be at the Dr. Phillips Center today through Sunday. Teralin and Dillon, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
This is fun.